microprocessor 805 microprocessor. U18EC, code code is U18EC 506. Let's start with the first of all the features of 8086 microprocessor. What are the different features of 8086? 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor. 8086 microprocessor is a 16-bit microprocessor. And when you go for 16-bit microprocessor, as you told, we will be having 16-bit operations will be carried out in this microprocessor. So all the arithmetic and logical operations which can be go ahead at a maximum of 16-bit. So here you can go for 8-bit operations also as well as 16-bit. There is a provision in this. So the next feature of this one is that as 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor, it has a 16-bit data bus. That is fine. But one special point you need to make a note over here is that it is having a 20-bit address bus. So 20-bit address bus, when you are having 20-bit address bus, mean to say 20 address lines are there. When you are having 20 address lines, which can address up to 220 memory locations, because each line can carry information 0 or 1. Okay, these are the 2 bits, either 0 or 1. So you can have 20 lines means 2 for 20 memory locations, which makes equals to 1 megabyte. And usually each memory location, it can have, each memory location can be a byte size. So total memory capacity which it can interface is nothing but 1 MB. So here, as I told you just now, each memory location is of 1 byte. So when you are having a 16-bit data, 16-bit data means, and once again I am now telling you, 1 byte is equal to what? 8 bits. So each memory location can store 8 bits of information. So when you are having 16 bits, how many bytes it will take? 2 bytes. So it would be stored in 2 consecutive memory locations. The first memory location is over here. The next memory location is here. It will store first over here, then over here. Not randomly over there. It will be storing in the consecutive memory location. So if you are sending the 16-bit address on the 16-bit data, that will be stored. And one more feature over this one, this address bus. Bus is nothing but a bunch of wires, we'll say. So the address bus which is used to sending the address is again can be used to send the data. So we say this is multiplexed. Multiplex means it could be used for sending the data as well as address onto this. At one moment we will be sending the addresses. The next moment we will be sending the data. So here address and data both are sent onto this bus. Same address. Now coming to this one, 8086 microprocessor has 16-bit I/O addresses. So you will be having one more thing is that you will be having different segments and all those things we will be discussing in the coming classes. But here, remember here, 8086 is having 16 I/O addresses. I/O means input-output addresses. It can address up to input-output ports. How many? 2 for 16 I/O ports it can address. That is nothing but which is makes as 655 36 ports I/O ports it can address. Okay. This is the number of I/O ports which it can address. Then 8086 microprocessor has a 16-bit registers. There are totally 14 16-bit registers. And when you say out of this one, you will be having different register organizations. Mostly we will be discussing these things in your 4th and 5th classroom discussions. 4th and 5th class we will be discussing about all the registers of 8086. So remember here, it has a total 14 registers. Out of these 14 registers, some are general purpose registers, some are segment registers, some are pointer register, some is a flag register. Like that, way different registers have been there. And next one is that 8086 microprocessor. When you take up the microprocessor 8086, so the microprocessor would be a small chip would be there, and a notch would be there. Onto this microprocessor, there would be one pin which is called as minimum or maximum mode. So, mean to say, minimum mode and maximum mode, these are the two different modes in 8086 can operate in. So, when you are strapping this one to VCC, a microprocessor would be working in minimum mode. When you are putting it to the ground, this pin, there are 40 pins onto this IC. When you take the pin number 33 and if you connect it to the VCC, it would be working as a minimum mode or a single processor. It is a just as a processor it would be used. And when you go for the same pin, if you go and put it onto a ground, so then the microprocessor will be configured as a multiprocessor. That is the very unique feature of a microprocessor. At one time, it will be a single processor, and another time we can use a multiprocessor. I mean to say, if you are having larger number of devices to be connected, you can use a multiprocessor. So the pin configuration of that one would be differing. We'll be discussing in detail about the what is the pin configuration, how the pin configuration would be differing in here, and one more important feature of 8086 is that it has a 6 bytes instruction prefetch queue. So the instruction prefetch queue is nothing but it is fetches the instructions well ahead before executing the program. When the execution unit is executing, at that moment itself it goes and fetches the next instruction. So instruction prefetch queue more well advanced in fetching up the data and so how the processing would be done, this would be discussed in your next class. So remember, 6 bytes can be transferred and it can be stored in the queue. Queue, you know that it has a property of first in, last out. That property you put in. So this is the general overall organization of 8086 CPU. So this CPU is split in two parts. One is an bus interface unit. The other one is an execution unit. So these are the a bifocal line is been there. A small dotted line is in there, which splits the bus interface unit and execution unit. So the top one is a bus interface unit, which moves to the memory, collects the data, and it gives it to the execution unit. Execution unit, main part of the execution unit is your ALU. ALU, what it does, it goes for performing the ALU is there. Okay. So ALU does the processing and it goes for getting the result and it will be storing either in the registers or again it would be sent with it. Now here you can see this part. This is an bus interface unit. Instruction bit which you once instruction is been prefetched, it moves into the queue and in from there it is passing out to the system buses and from the system buses it would be moved to the registers or where it has been. This is the organization of 8086 CPU. I hope you have understood and the last I will summarize 8086 microprocessor main important features you need to remember. 8086 microprocessor is a 16-bit microprocessor is a 16-bit microprocessor which can go for operations on 16-bit operations as well as 8-bit operations can be performed with this one. And especially one change is that address bus is of 20-bit, which can address up to 1 MB of memory. So these are the things which are there in here very important. And operating frequency microprocessor operating frequency will be 5 megahertz or more than that. Thank you for watching this video. Next video would be on the architecture of 8086.